Hey everybody, Shifuo here. You thought you was going to get away from me today. Nah. I'm here, and I didn't do one early this morning like I normally do, because this time I really had to think about some things. Again, I thank all of you. Most of you I don't even know, and calling me and congratulating me about doing these things. But most of you had some serious questions that deserve answers. One was, how did I allow this to happen? And yes, my guilt, my rage is immeasurable, but my guilt is fighting my rage neck and neck. If I knew now what I know now, and people coming forward and saying things that they're saying about Jimmy Sherman and what he did and what he's done, who he owes, his police record, the house not being his, all the lies he told, I would have never had my daughter join his team. Never. We were better off, and what I think was a better team with Team ATL. But at the same time, that's water under the bridge. And then the next question is, well, what does your ex think about all this? That's why I had to meditate before I did this, because I had to be careful about what I said, about whose feelings I hurt, this, that, and the other. I don't care about Jimmy's feelings. But, it's my fault because my family life was going downhill. A lot of you know that. Criticized me for making it public. But when I made what I was going through public, I did it as a hypothetical situation. It was other people in my family that got on there, cursed me out with nothing but falsehoods. So with that being said, for a long time, I went through a lot of BS to protect my children and to protect my children from family members. So when these text messages first came through, and I trust you people, they are very, very extremely explicit text messages that Mr. Sherman sent to a 16-year-old. All right, no grown man, as we all know, should do that. My ex is the one who caught the texts that came through. She confronted Mr. Sherman, and he BS'd his way out of it, said, no, we were just playing. A 45-year-old man doesn't play about the things he was talking about with a 16-year-old. It was my oldest daughter who actually got my daughter to confess and tell the truth. And with all that being said and done, my ex still packed her up and sent her to the Grand Dams. The only reason Jimmy Sherman didn't show, I think because I was originally going to go, and I had already sent him a cease and desist letter without even knowing any of this had went on. I didn't find out for another week and a half. So I don't know what kind of woman would get this stuff, get the information, see it, give her the phone back, and then let her go. If it was not for my son calling me up and telling me what was going on, I still wouldn't have known. Why she did that, I don't know. And personally, it seems like to me that she is still protecting him, because her silence is driving me crazy. She won't say nothing. She won't do nothing. I'm only assuming that it's her guilt. But I am not letting it go. The things I have found out these last couple of days are just remarkable. People in South Carolina who all know him are all saying the same thing. All of them are saying the same thing. And so to me, again, I had to meditate on this one. Mr. Sherman is, I keep calling him Mr., and he really doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that at all. So, he has my daughter pretty much brainwashed. She thinks that there was nothing wrong with it. The things that he used to get her to do this with him were all lies. This man has never been a sheriff. When I talk to internal affairs guy has been a sheriff for 22 years. I mean, not a sheriff, but an internal affairs investigator, which means before that he had to be something else. He has over 40 years in this business and never heard or seen Jimmy Sherman. So all of that, all of you that he told that he was a cop and he was a sheriff and he was this, How do you do that when you have a record that extends from 1990 all the way to 2010? You know, I should put up his mugshot because, yeah, I got that too. You know, the house is in his sister's name that he boasts that he bought, and he did this and he did that. Jimmy was living in a trailer. Let's not get it twisted. So, you know, and I get this from all the people in South Carolina who looked up the deed to his house. So I'm not on here just talking crap. This guy threw everybody under the bus, especially me. You know, my son caught his text. He heard conversations with him and my ex. He's seen things in my daughter's phone. And of course, he's going to come and tell his dad. So the response of the family is, well, let's not have him on the phone. Let's not have him do this. You know, when you have a person that was warned, do not go to South Carolina alone with my daughter. And not only does she goes, she spends the night in his home. He pays for everything. He pays for the hotel. He pays for her to compete. He's not doing that for anybody else on Team Unity. On Team Unity, how many of you guys have he actually paid for you guys to stay in a hotel with your family? You know, that's red flag number one. It was different when I was in the picture, you know, because I could watch her. I can do all these things. You know, when you have someone who's nonchalant about it and trusting everybody and has issues of her own, which many of you know, you know, then his next point was to throw not just me and other people under the bus, but specifically me. He targeted certain things that I told him and went around, twisted it, went right back to my family, told them. You know, and I want to make this for the record because one of the things that my daughter was totally pissed off about is that she was under the impression that I was the one going around calling her a whore. Now, this is before I knew all this, and I'm trying to figure out where the heck is this coming from. You know, of course it came from Mr. Sherman, all right? I was upset that a lot of people, and they know who they are, and they should be ashamed of themselves, were in my daughter's ear, telling her that she shouldn't be with her father, that I'm in her way of getting on Team Paul Mitchell and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But yet, with her father, she went undefeated. She didn't lose one fight in 3 years. How do you do that if I'm so much in her way? If my training is not what it's supposed to be? In 3 years, you count them, and you can count the tournaments and everything. She didn't lose in 3 years. She lost her first NBL fight when we first got into the NBL, plain and simple, at Jeff Doss. And she wasn't even a black belt. From that point on, she never lost a fight until she got with Unity. Then she lost. So with that being said, people, you know, that was a crock of bull. But that's how that started. I said, if people keep getting in her ear like that, I had told Jimmy Sherman, I was like, look, you're her coach, you're the team leader, talk to her. This man went back and told my daughter that I was out here calling her a whore. And she believed him because of his BS. She believed him. So people, let me explain something to you. I built Kung Fu Atlanta on the face of my daughter. I put so much time and work with her and my daughter, her, my son, and now my little son. You know, I put so much work into them. They wanted to quit every single day, and I wouldn't let them. I pushed them, and I pushed them, and I pushed them. I put them out there to build up the school. Why would I destroy my bread and butter? Why would I destroy the name that helped build this? I wouldn't. You know, and that was his first ploy. He saw that there was problems in my family, and, you know, he exploited them. You know, he's good at that. And my guilt is because, yeah, I let him. So, yeah, it's my fault. But I'm going to stop him from doing it to anybody else. If I knew, like I said, if I knew what I knew now, I would have never been over there. I would have never taken my daughter over there. If I knew everything that he said was a lie and was just a question of going online, I would have done so. So, for those of you, I felt that I owed that explanation to because you were courteous, you sent your prayers out, you sent everything, that you need to do. But Jimmy Sherman has lied to everybody about everything. And I just want to let you guys know that. This is my Saturday run. I'm going to church tomorrow, so y'all probably won't see me, but then maybe you will. And so with that saying, good night, everybody, and peace.